We're all
There's
here.
quorum.
As you wish, please stand for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk.
Dear Lord, we thank you. We thank you for everything that you've provided for us, all the gifts that you bestow, and all of our health and our family. We also ask today to keep our work family and their families' health in your loving care. Heal some people that need healing. We ask wisdom, guidance, discernment on the issues that are before us today, and all these things we ask in your Son's name, Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
The consent agenda is on the board. It has been published. Motion,
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Change order number 2, capital paving and construction. The total is $199,122.95. This is for the Berry Road Bridge project. Motion,
I make a motion, we accept change order for capital paving and construction for $199,122.95.
second.
Second.
Question, yeah, Rich.
Two of them, in fact. Number one, where are the funds coming for the total bridge project?
Okay. Bridget, you want to talk about that?
I don't know about those, that's up to Jason, so I'm not sure.
Okay, that's okay. So I'll get to number two. That's a pretty, in my mind, that's a fairly expensive change order.
Yes, it is.
Was something missed, or was something needed to be added we didn't know about?
It
was a miscalculation on the engineering, I think it was on the concrete. It was basically originally bid half of what was needed. The contractor caught it, and this reflects that correction.
And you don't have a problem with that?
Well, what it was, Rich, I think it was it was in the foundation of an old bridge. They didn't know it was there when they started digging down. When they tore the metal bridge down, and I think they test drilled, but when they started digging this out, at some time or other, there was an old concrete slab they poured to go across there. Is that right, Jason?
Well, that was the change.
Now, I don't think you were here yet then, but I remember when they found it. And then they had to tear that out and haul it off.
And that was in Jason, probably, go ahead, Jason.
So that head wall stuff was in the $117,000 change order. This is new, and this has to do with the concrete decking on the new bridge.
I can see that. Somebody called the other day after, I guess, watching our report on the change on Old Fredericktown. So you spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on engineering, and it washed out, and within a couple months, somebody's questioning the engineering. Why are we spending that much on engineering if, when it's wrong, that they don't eat any of it? And I said, yeah, I don't know, that's just.
So in Old Fredericktown, that had nothing to do with engineering.
That was a massive flood.
Yeah.
That was just the water got in between the two layers of asphalt and just pushed the asphalt.
Right, but then we had to come back and put something on the sides or something? That's what they were asking about.
No, we haven't done any of that yet. But that's just to protect the
I-
roadways, but that had nothing to do with.
I didn't mean to
the-
digress, but let's look, what is the overall cost of this particular project?
Of the Berry Road Bridge? Or what project?
3.8.
How much?
3.8.
We anticipate 4 million.
So in reality, overall, project-wise, this is not a big change control order cost, but it's still a large cost.
It is a large cost. The national average, I think, for change orders is like 5%. Is that where I'm at?
Right.
If I'm
So now
mistaken.
this
I hate
has
to
a-
say that, I don't even want to get close to that, but
So we
it's still under
budgeted,
that.
we have budgeted the entire cost of the bridge, but it is a governor's cost share.
Yeah,
But
okay.
we have the budgeted amount.
Thanks, Jason.
Now, also on that, and the one that we're looking at now, there is a contingency built in.
Correct.
On everything.
Yeah, usually
Is it
15,
10% off?
15, 20, usually.
Yeah, the one that we were looking at yesterday for another project was 10, I saw, but usually they're 15% to get the unexpected, but
Thank you.
That's
And
good.
to clarify, the change orders obviously weren't budgeted as they weren't anticipated,
Right,
which
right. So-
I think it brings it to what now, in change order, 207?
200.
yeah, 207,763.
So that wouldn't have been budgeted, but.
Mhm.
Any other questions? On favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, co-insurance for wind, hail damage at the jail buildings. And this covers both the jail and the maintenance building out there. You wanna talk about this?
Yeah, I'll be happy to. What happened is they raised, and we were aware of this, raised the deductible on those two buildings, because the cost factor from 100,000 to 250,000. And you asked us to go to see what, you can get reinsurance to insure the part between 100 and 250,000. We got that back, it's $8,900 approximately. Now, if it was my personal, you're spending $8,900 to insure $150,000. That's pretty pricey. If it was my personal, I'd say, no, don't do it. But nobody's gonna congratulate you on not spending the $8,900, but if you get hit with a storm out there, they sure are gonna criticize you for having a $250,000 deductible without paying. So that's a difference between a public thing, do you protect the public's interests, or do you say, hey, we can self-insure that? But that's, a $250,000 hit would be a substantial hit on either one of those buildings.
Well, when this first come in, we thought that was 250,000 apiece, but it turned out to be 250,000 on both, which is the new maintenance shed and the jail separated, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is only wind and hail damage, had nothing to do with fire or
No,
whatever.
just wind and hail. You're paying almost $9,000 just to insure for wind and hail between 100 and 250,000
For two buildings.
for two buildings. Like I said, if it was personal, you wouldn't do it. I used to tell people when they, nonprofits, when they inherited something, stock, and they said, well, do you think we should keep it? Well, yeah, it's a real good stock. Yeah, it'd be, if it was me, I'd keep it. But you have fiduciary responsibility. No one will congratulate you if that stock goes up, because they just assumed you should know that. But if it goes down, or if you take a hit and we lose 200,000, they sure are gonna find fault in you if it does. So that's your call. If you wanna self-insure, it just seems a little pricey for that margin of insurance.
Well, the scary part about it too is, look at it, I think we're, 3 times tornadoes this year already than average, so. I mean, it is a gamble, but we definitely, the weather's here.
At the Commissioners Conference, they suggested that all counties take a look at their wind and hail insurance, because that's what's going to impact your insurance rate probably more than anything,
Right.
That's why they raised the deductible.
because of roof repair, et cetera.
Yes. Yeah, those size buildings, if you lose part of the roof, you're gonna have to replace the whole roof, and then this will look cheap, so.
Well, I probably think on the national average, this is probably all across the country, the damage we're getting in the last few months on storm, really all year. I'm sure the insurances, they combine to go together where they figure out this is where their expenses come from.
That's also for your personal and home insurance as well.
Yes.
This is not. This doesn't apply. Okay. Okay, did I get a motion? No.
No.
Motion, please.
I'll make a motion that we approve the co-insurance for wind and hail damage at the jail, the annual cost of $8,991.30.
I'll second that.
Okay, any questions?
Anybody got something they want?
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, request to waive penalty and interest. This company is apparently a large company with a lot of vehicles, and some of their vehicles wound up on multiple tax bills. So they've requested that we return penalty and interest, or waive it. I don't know if it's been paid yet or not? Has it been
It
paid?
had to be paid because they needed vehicles licensed.
Okay, so this would be a repayment, okay, of that amount. Motion?
I'll make a motion that we waive the penalty and interest on Aptitude Internet for, its non-fault of the company for $579.62.
Second?
I'll
Questions?
I'll second that.
Questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Switch to Time Clock Plus. Here comes Cory, had a run.
Hello. So a couple of weeks ago, you guys approved Tyler time and attendance, so employees can clock in and out. After that was approved, I found out that during implementation, they also required a workforce identity, it's an IDP. I'm not an IT person, so I really can't explain that, but that was an additional almost $14,000 for that. So when we found out the cost was going to almost double, I looked into different options. I found Time Clock Plus. A lot of different places work with them and they import their information into Tyler so we can process payroll that way. And it is quite a bit cheaper and they don't require that function.
Okay, so that bottom red line may be wrong then.
It could be, but based on, so with Tyler, just the reoccurring fees were gonna be $27,009 per year. And with Time Clock Plus on the quote, it's the $14,442.84.
Okay.
After the first year. The first year's higher, of course, because we have to pay for implementation, time clock, setup, all that stuff.
All right, motion.
Have you had a chance to look at any of that for the IT or what it? They have to do with it.
We gotta make it work with our new one. We gotta make it work. Is this gonna, so this is gonna replace our timesheets where you enter in all our stuff? Is it gonna be a punch out, or how do you log into this?
It will be, we're still trying to figure out if we're gonna do the fingerprint or swipe the badges. We'll have to make sure if, we're priced. They quoted us at the highest cost for the clocks if we do go with the fingerprint, and all that, so.
Corey, I was just gonna ask something. How many clocks do we have to have? Do we
I
have
think this quote that I have that I'm gonna ask you guys to sign has 8 on here.
8?
8. So that will be Annex, Courthouse, Jail, Road and Bridge, JDC, Weber, and possibly the new building. That's 7. And we thought maybe we might need 2 somewhere in that. And so this, they can also use their mobile phones to clock in and out. So hopefully, whenever everybody arrives in the morning, we don't have a line of people at one machine. These are some things we still have to kind of weigh out our options.
Okay, did I get a motion second?
Not yet.
Okay.
The first year's cost is $48,449.79, and this will help streamline the process that Teresa and you guys do with
Yes,
your.
very much so.
Well, I'll make a motion that we switch to the TCP for Time Clock Plus in lieu of the Tyler ESS time and attendance system for the first year at $48,449.79, and then the $14,442.84 for the following year annual.
It's a 5-year contract, yeah.
5-year contract.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, question?
What's the anticipated procedure for call-outs? Would they have to go to Road and Bridge and clock in and then go do the call, or what?
So if they just, they're sick or on vacation?
No, so if we get an emergency and he calls guys out, how do we work that?
So they should be able to do it from their mobile phones. We're still trying to figure out the intricacies on that, so not 100% sure.
What are you gonna do if people don't want it on their phones?
Then they'll have to.
We have a hard enough time getting people to authenticate their emails.
Right.
I mean,
So then if they don't want to do it on their phone, then they can just clock in, swipe, or fingerprint when they walk in the building. Or they can also do it from their computer, log in and do it that way.
Just one comment. I know this is a big expenditure, and whether it's justified or not, it's a shame we have to do it, but I saw in the Chamber's magazine that just came out, we are the 8th largest employer in the county. So we're not running a small little business here, you know, behind the hospital and, it's, you know, it's
Yeah,
US
US
Tool and, you know, so we're not a little small
Yeah,
entity.
I know.
We have 200, between 200 and 240 employees, depending upon the time and who's laid off. And that's a big entity to be managing in 7 locations.
Now, again, that red line is inaccurate. Can you give us a little bit of?
So, I'm thinking that just the reoccurring fees that we will have, we're saving over 13.5, because with Tyler.
Per year?
Yes, per year.
13,500.
Yes, now with the first year, Tyler was anticipated to be 66.2, TCP is 48, so that's a difference of 17,840.
Okay. But there will be significant savings by going to this system.
Yes.
Okay. Did you have something?
I did. Do you know the anticipated like implementation date of this as far as for budgeting purposes, like when we're gonna pay all
So
this money
Tyler was
out?
telling me like 8 months, but based on the conversation I had with TCP last week, they're saying it's very rare it goes over 120 days for implementation.
So like that first year cost we'd have to pay up front probably this year.
Yes.
Thank you. I have a motion second. Any other questions?
Budgeted item?
No.
No.
What's the savings?
No. Oh, no.
We've already paid for half the year.
Not this year,
before.
but overall,
So you'll be over budget, is what you're saying?
this year. Rich?
Yeah, how will the employees be trained on using the system?
That will be part of the implementation process, and we're still trying to figure all that out. This is the very first stages of it, is just to get it approved.
Thank you.
There'll be numerous steps.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes.
This was brought up before, I think. If someone does not want their fingerprint to be used, can the county make them go that route if that's the route that was chosen, or will they have another way of doing it?
They can use the actual time clock machine when they walk in. I don't know for sure if like we're gonna have the fingerprint and the badge option, but if they don't wanna do it that way, then they can just go to their desk and log in and punch in that way.
You anticipate somebody with that reservation about fingerprints? You do. How many? 1, 2, how many?
I haven't had large discussions or anything, so it was brought up.
Witness protection.
Okay. Sheriff, you've got people that go from home to duty, correct?
Yes,
And they will have to log in. So how do they do that?
either with what she's explained, either with their mobile phone
Yeah,
or with their MDT, which is their computer in their patrol car.
okay.
So they go straight to the scene, they wouldn't have to come to the jail or the county building to clock in. They should be able to do it from a laptop or from their mobile phone.
Okay, you see no problems with
My previous employer had something very similar to this, it worked out very well.
it? Okay.
That's all I can say about
I
it.
do have a question for you, Jeff, and you know, you go straight from bed, you get a call, you've got a major crime. Can you go to the crime, or you have to check in before you take off? You know time, you know what I'm talking about here, time. Corey, you understand what I'm saying?
Well, couldn't that be verified with the
As far
911
as,
records?
as far as just people remembering to actually clock in, you know, I think it's gonna be hard for people to remember just in general, because we don't do it now. It's gonna take
I would
So-
think that your supervisor would know that you're going, so. I mean,
Yes,
they can
and you
go
would
back-
clock in on the radio with central dispatch, so they would have a approximate time. You could come back and probably have your supervisor, I'm sure there's some kind of override system that you can verify.
Well, that's what I was wondering, because you know where I'm going at there. I mean, this is gonna happen.
Right.
And before we actually import from TCP into Tyler, we can make edits to
Okay.
employees' time if they forget or if it's wrong.
And I think you'll see that. I forgot to clock in, or I took a day off and did, you know, there's gonna be some things, but the supervisor, their immediate supervisor should be able to override that. And there will be, I'm sure there's gonna be a log that the supervisor
Yeah, they'll
overrode
be
that at this
audited.
time of day, so.
Well, it's my understanding they're still gonna be approved by their super, like your
Correct.
current sheet's
Yes.
still gonna be approved.
Good thing about Jeff, they do get on the radio, at least I could call dispatch and say, hey, can you tell me what time that, can't remember what time, so that's a good thing too, so, a good fallback.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, sales tax report. A slight decrease in our sales tax report. And going real quickly to the use tax, slight increase. Well, it's a major increase. Now, I want to point out the dollar difference. Look at that 95,000 increase in use tax and look at the 92,000 decrease in sales tax. Almost dollar for dollar. Now, there's a big difference in where this comes from. 2/3 of our sales tax comes from surrounding counties. All of the use tax comes from this county. Now, there's a big difference in how it's used too. This all goes to the sheriff's department. This goes to the general revenue fund. So it's a difference in that, but I'm just struck by the dollar amount, almost identical. Now, how the property funds are used, it all goes directly to the sheriff's department. There's no interest involved because it's used immediately. And because of these changes, deputies right now are making $8.61 more per hour than they made just a very few years ago. So it's made a significant change in the deputy's life. Sometimes they forget about it. After about the third paycheck, you forget what your previous pay was. But it's made a significant change in that. And I understand our retention rate is better now than it used to be. So just want to show how that's done. Any questions on that? Yeah, Louis.
Commissioner, I'd also point out that most county employees have not received an $8.61 an hour
That's true,
increase.
because we spend all this on the sheriff's department. Yeah. Okay, next meeting, this time next week. Other business, correspondence. Public comments. Departmental reports.
She's coming up, I'll just mention, I looked at the state, I gave it to our auditor too, that their breakdown, their increase income tax statewide, everything else, but their sales tax statewide is off.
Okay.
And that's our largest source of revenue by far, but we're not strange around the state. That's the only part of the state's budget that dropped.
Okay.
However, the state budget director, Dan Howell, reported yesterday that the times are going to be getting tougher
Yeah.
as we go forward.
Yes.
Well, so I was just gonna give a little update on emergency management with all the storms we've had over the last few weeks. Commissioner Butler kind of hit on it earlier with the amount of tornadoes. We got a message yesterday from the National Weather Service that since 1990, in the 46 counties that the St. Louis National Weather Service monitors, they've had roughly 91 F2 or bigger tornadoes, which is about 3 per year. This year alone, we've already had 12. So it's definitely a very active tornado season. On May 19th, National Weather Service confirmed a tornado down in the Trap Rock area. It was an EF1, 86 mile an hour to 110 mile an hour winds. It was on the ground for approximately 4.2 miles, and there were no injuries reported. On June 7th, which was this weekend, a second tornado was confirmed in Libertyville. It was an EF0 between 65 and 85 mile an hour winds. It was on the ground for approximately 1.25 miles. No injuries were also reported there. We've been receiving some questions about the Highway DDO warning siren for the tornado on Saturday. It was not activated because we were not under an active warning. The National Weather Service missed it. It is functioning properly, everything's good. It's just since we weren't actually on warning, the siren was never sound.
Intentionally.
Well, intentionally not. I mean, if the National Weather Service would have seen it, put the warning out, they would have went out. Again, we don't just set sirens off willy-nilly because we leave it up to the National Weather Service to tell us when to set them off.
we weren't in that polygon.
Correct, correct. We're encouraging people to receive severe alerts from other things besides outdoor warning sirens, weather radios, smartphone apps, local news outlets. But the biggest thing what we're asking for help on is reporting storm damage. After these storms come through, you can either take pictures and email myself. My email's on the website. I also posted on our Facebook this morning. Or you can call our central dispatch at 431-3131. Let them know anything minor, major, let us know, and we'll come out and take a look at it. The more the damage that we have, the more possibility of being able to get some assistance and helping get it cleaned up and get people shelter and what they need. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Nick.
Yes.
I guess I'd fall under departmental report maybe.
Yeah. Hang on, Sheriff.
I'm sorry.
Oh, right ahead.
She's not sorry.
I'm sure yours is more important. We have a 100 miles, 100 days activity coming up, starting in June statewide. And then we also have a single event happening in St. Francis County at the Owl Creek Park, and it is July 21st. And so we'd love it if anybody wants to come. I know they've been doing walks regularly, but we're starting at 8 o'clock. And we're gonna have our horticulture specialists along with the walk, identifying some native plants that are out there at the park. So if you're interested, just let me know. Thanks.
Thank you.
Sheriff. Got a slide for you.
Here again, just want to report our weekly numbers. Our calls for service are 8,868 as of this morning. And that brings our calls for the week up to 418. Our inmate population stands at 132, 106 males, 26 females. Our new canines just returned from 6 weeks of intensive training out of St. Louis. They are certified now and are going on the road here in the next couple days. They're getting a couple days off. That's Onyx, who is a 2-year-old German Shepherd, and he's assigned to Deputy Jeremy Bowles. And we have Defender, who is a 4-year-old Belgian Malinois, and he's assigned to Deputy Andrew Gray, so they'll be out on the street. That'll put us at 5 canines for the county. And it's my sad duty to inform the passing of former Lieutenant Tim Price. I think he worked under Sheriff Buckley, Sheriff Cade, and Sheriff Bullock. So he's been a long time member of the Sheriff's Department. He passed this morning. So.
Any questions for Sheriff?
Okay.
They certified, those dogs certified in drugs only?
No, they are, well, narcotics detection, handler protection, suspect apprehension, and tracking.
Tracking? Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Go to the bridge. Talk. Jason.
So, we talked with the paving crew this morning. They're making good headway. They've gotten London and rollouts completed, starting on Groom today. They should knock it out today, and then they'll move their way down to Sugar Grove and Terrace Gardens. Talking with them, they were supposed to take July and do a MoDOT job, but they're thinking maybe that'll get pushed. So we're trying to get culverts and stuff installed for the next group of roads. That way, if they do get pushed, they can start on Alsbury and Patterson School and Hillsboro. We'll just have to work our way there. We got 20 culverts to replace on those 2 roads. Crews will get 3 to 4 a day, so we're gonna try to work that out. I mean, based on their schedule, we have plenty of time, but if they get pushed, we may or may not have something ready for them. We did get notified this morning, or yesterday afternoon, late, about the damage on DD. We hadn't heard anything, so a resident called, and we sent a crew down there this morning. There's a few limbs here and there. Some were in the road, somebody cleared them, so we'll get a crew down there to pick that stuff up tomorrow. Wasn't extensively bad. We got the mower crews are out still. I think they're in their 4th week of mowing, so they should be getting close to making their first pass through the county. We got patch crews out on Tillman, and we got some up north on like Bricky. Got some guys up on Rugley. doing some repairs from storm damage. That creek gets out and washes a driveway out really bad. Might need to look at trying to do something different with the creek crossing. I still haven't heard back about the deal we had up there from the Corps of Engineers.
Yeah.
Haven't heard anything back from them yet. I need to give them a call and see what they've worked out. Other than that, it's just replacing culverts. Personal culverts, I think we had probably 30, 40 calls last week alone. We've had several this week. We got some ditching to do. We're getting locates in, just waiting on locates. But stay busy.
When they do the culverts, when you get, or you're tearing the old out.
When they want replaced, right?
Okay, and then they actually, the people themselves, they buy that culvert?
Yeah, so we'll go out and look at it, Brian or I, and we'll tell them whether it needs to be metal or plastic, and we'll tell them who to call.
And what size?
And what size. But like, so if it's plastic and they get it from Waterworks, where we get annual bids, the resident gets it for the same cost we get it for it. But yeah, they purchase it, we'll go pick it up, take it out there, rip the old one out, put the new one in, and rock it in. And then that's the extent of what we do.
I have a quick question on that. The culverts, I know you do them, for example, along Hillsborough Road, but these side private roads, do you replace culverts there when they're repaving those roads so that you can't?
So if we're paving the road, yes.
If you're paving them?
Right.
Okay, because we
Yeah.
get questions every once in a while. We're gonna redo this road and it's through their association and they wanna know
Right, now, if it's not a county maintained road, we don't.
Okay.
If it's a county maintained easement, we will.
And I will say this, you guys are doing a good job. I got quite a few calls this week pertaining to road bridge, the work like down on Feezer. We're down on Feezer. I got many calls. People are tickled to death down there on that road now since we're done. And I know you're paving. I got numerous calls yesterday that were giving you guys thumbs up, so.
Yeah, and it is an inconvenience on those dead end roads, but the paving crew's pretty good about letting residents in and out. But, on a dead end road, there is gonna be some inconvenience.
And there's a lot of, between state and us, there's a lot of work happening in the area, so just be cautious. I know a couple major through Deloge is gonna be messed up, and Bon Terre's gonna be messed up.
Yeah, they're getting ready to start the Deloge thing, the roundabout, and there is some going on Old Bon Terre Road with the gas line installed. They'll have, the temporary stoplights put up for that, and it'll be reduced to one lane for about a week.
And coming in from K and the Bon Terre is gonna be really messed too, so.
Well, and this year is.
Be aware, our mowers are out.
Yeah, this year it's been pretty treacherous weather-wise. A lot of them gotta understand that
Well,
it's been an
it's-
abnormal year for weather,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, we got delayed a lot just
yeah.
on the Ferry Bridge Road due to flooding,
Yeah.
so.
So give our crews a little bit of time, they'll be there.
I'll get you a new picture next week for that too. Yeah, Rick, it's coming along. It's coming along.
Okay. Any questions for Road and Bridge? Okay, thank you. Any other departmental reports?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you.